They're the in crowd, we're the other ones. It's a different kind of cloth that we're cut from. We let our colors show where the numbers ain't. We're the paint where there ain't supposed to be paint. That's who we are. That's how we roll. The outsiders. The outsiders.
I will get high and I never get stained when we saddle up and battle in the pouring rain. When a junkyard dog with an alley cat, keep the wind in our front and the hell at our back. That's who we are. I'm talking walk and walk wide open rock. That's how we roll. Back to the wall, a band of brothers together along the outsiders. We're the riders, we're the ones burning rubber up our tires. Yeah, we're the fighters, they all nighters. So fire 'em up and get a little higher. The outsiders. The outsiders. You're gonna know who we are.
It was an eventful 3 races in the round of 16. 4 drivers unable to make the cut, 3 of them veterans, 2 who were in the playoffs last season, and 1 of which was the former champion. Now the slate is scrubbed clean as the 12 drivers remaining try to see who will be able to go for the title. The site of the race is Holmen, Wisconsin, and the race is the SimTel 500. Hello again, everybody. I'm Colin Denton with RVN, and welcome to the 20th round of the Elite Cup Series in the opening race of the round of 12. It might have been a little bit mellow at Toronto Lakeshore, but it was sandwiched between 2 very eventful races at Texas World and NASCAR that saw several big-name drivers go down. Allison Rain took a frightening flip on the backstretch of the Washington track and ended up in last place. Reese Butcher was unable to push past the finish line at the end of the round, and he ends up on the outside looking in. And so does our Season 1 champion, Rampage, who had the wheels come off at Texas World when it was almost looking like it was certain to be his victory. And from there, it just got worse and worse, and now he is not going to be retaining his title. We take a look at how the standings ended up at the end of the round. Jake Baskinger, Bruno De Barros, really impressive performances by those 2 drivers that put them at the top of the charts. But this list is going to be reset. All of the drivers in the green, they'll be continuing to compete for the title, but they are going to be effectively at 0. They have to race each other for all of those positions once again. So for a driver like Stuart Gratton, who was just able to keep his head afloat, or for Philip Fry, who snuck his way in at the last moment, they are now on an equal playing field to the rest of the competition. It is anyone's game at this point as we head into this 1.25 mile oval with a lot of speed, a lot of banking, and requires razor edge precision to get around it and be competitive. Taking a look at where we are on the map, traveling from NASCAR to SimTel Park, just a nice little 27-hour drive east on I-90, head a little bit to the north, and then you'll end up at SimTel Park in Holmen, Wisconsin, 2 hours away from Minneapolis, and a short distance away from La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway off to the south, the first NASCAR-sanctioned track in Wisconsin. Let's take you on board our Toyota test car to get a view of this facility. 1.25 miles in length, but it is very deceptive. It is very fast. Going down in the turn 1, you're going to want to stay in that groove, go any higher, and you're going to be slipping back, trying to stay off the gas to make sure you don't hit the wall. And then you head to this tri-oval on the back stretch. This entire place is banked, even on the front stretch. Down in the turn 3 and 4, once again, stay in that groove. Don't go too high or you'll be in trouble. Hitting the rev limiter going down these straightaways. Looking at RPMs between 8K and 9,200. That is a very quick lap around SimTel Park. The Amateur Cup Series drivers just finished up their final race of the round of 12, and all of them, whether they were eliminated or not, competing in this part-timer race. Right away, 3 wide in the tri-oval. They kind of got the groove of how this place operates, and they are taking note of how to get around some drivers especially going through those corners. Got to build up some momentum and try to shuffle your way to the front. Donnie Moore able to take away 6th place, and he would stay in that position for the rest of this event. And it got a little exciting at the end. White flag lap, Eric Van Arsdale. He has that slip up in turn 1, gives the opportunity to Craig Martin to make a move to the inside, but here comes Robert Harrison. Even better momentum on the low side. Nearly 3 wide going into turn 3, and they're side by side going to this corner. It should be Harrison that has the advantage, but Martin slingshots off the outside, and he will take the victory in this part-timer race. Obviously, the top 6 will qualify, but the local product will get a victory in his home state, even if it doesn't count in the record books. So, qualifying for the main feature event will be Craig Martin, Robert Harrison, Eric Van Arsdale, Kyle Law, Chris Harley, and Donnie Moore. 2 of those drivers, Van Arsdale and Harley, were among the eliminated drivers for the playoffs, and Jacob Rose, who got the victory and was able to slide into 14th place in the standings, unable to make the field as he finishes 7th in this one. And our hot seat driver for today is our most recent winner, Jack Krause. 6 top 20s in a row, 5 races in a row where he has the worst finish of 11th, obviously right there at Toronto Lakeshore. 4 top 10s in the past 5 races, very deserving of this hot seat honor, and he will be carrying our helmet cam. The stands are filled, the crowd is ready, and it is time to get the command. Let's head down trackside and hear those famous words.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Brad Paisley.
Drivers, start your engines.
All right, Daniel, you can fire it up when you're ready, bud. Check 1, 2, 3, you got a copy there?
These Elite Cup drivers are back on the playoff grind. Now it is time to see who will get a leg up in their quest to make it to the next round. Taking a look at the starting grid, 3 playoff drivers making up the first 3 spots. NASCAR Fan 19 in the 64 Penn Station Toyota gets his first pole of the season. Adam Mundinger in the 97 Miller Lite Ford starts who's outside. William Brock will start behind both of them on the inside of row 2, and then it's Stephen Willie who got his first top 10 of the season. Last race at NASCAR, a 3rd place run. Rounding out the top 5 is Jack Porkins, who's working back-to-back top 10s as he continues on in the chase. Dale Jr. Fan 88-83, 1 top 15 on the intermediate tracks. On the inside of row 4, it's Aiden Shepard, 1 top 20 on intermediate tracks, and Mitchell Mark is looking for his first top 20 since Peoria. Playoff contender Bruno De Barros on the inside of row 5. He's better than all full-timers on intermediates by 5 spots. Noah Carr is rounding out the top 10. He's got 3 career top 10s on the intermediate tracks. Jonathan Rains entering this race with back-to-back top 10s, and Jake Baskinger led the points after last round. They make up row 6. Row 7 has David Davidson, who finished 4th at NASCAR, and Cody Hagan, who has 3 top 20s in the last 4 races, including a victory. In the next row, we have Tyler Markell, who has struggled on intermediates this season, only 1 top 20, and Philip Fry, who was the only driver to overcome a deficit on the cut line at NASCAR. In row 9, we have Caleb Campbell, who finished 7th at NASCAR, and John Orn, who has 5 top 10s on intermediates. This is his best oval track type. Row 10, Dominic Carranza, 3 intermediate top 10s, and Kyle Law making his first Elite Cup Series start on an intermediate track. Row 11, Eli Bright, 2 top 15s in the past 3 races, and Nick Smith, no top 10s on the intermediates, but 5 top 20s. In row 12, we have Rambo, averaging a 35th on the intermediates. That's his worst track type by 10 spots, and Allison Rain back after a wild crash at NASCAR. In row 13, we've got Stuart Gradden, who had a point scare at NASCAR but still advanced into this round, and Brad Stover, who got his 3rd second-place finish of the season last race. A couple of eliminated drivers in row 14, Reese Butcher and Ryan Maiden. They're followed by a driver that did make it, Julio Caesar, on the inside of row 15, 3 top 15s on intermediate tracks. Eric Monaco has back-to-back top 15s entering this race. Wisconsin's Craig Martin made this event, got a top 10 in the Amateur Cup Series race, and Noah Ponser has 3 top 20s in the past 4 races. Row 17, the other JR had a streak of 3 straight top 20s, broken by a 37th place run at NASCAR, and Chris Harley just eliminated from the Amateur Cup Series playoffs earlier today. In row 18, Amethyst Ashley, the furthest back among the playoff drivers still eligible, and Gerard Arwan, 2 top 10s on intermediates, but also 2 sub-35s. Robert Harrison notching his first consecutive starts in the Elite Cup Series, and Rampage Season 1 champion no longer in the playoffs. A couple of Amateur Cup Series drivers in row 20, Eric Van Arsdale, who did not advance in the playoffs. Donnie Moore just managed to squeak his way in. And in the final row, Zachary Fitzwater Sr. got a runner-up at Twin Ring Motegi earlier this season, and Jack Krause, the NASCAR winner, will start shotgun on the field. For the 20th time this season, we've got a new pole winner, NASCAR Fan 19, grabbing the honor of this race. 20 drivers eligible for the clash next season. However, NASCAR Fan 19 did announce prior to the race that he would be retiring, so probably not going to see him in the event. The NFRN live streams are now available over on the NFRN channel. Go watch the onboards of the 12 remaining playoff drivers. That is available now. NASCAR Fan 19 Mundinger heading down the front stretch, and they will receive the green flag. Race number 20 is underway. Whoa, major contact off of turn 2. Carranza on the apron. And up through the tri-oval, he'll get back in the line, but looks like Arndt and Fry that made contact. That sent the 24 down to the apron, and now the 78 has some major damage. And he's losing some serious ground as well. He was just above the cut line, and now he's 17 points below as he fades back through the field. Meanwhile, back at the front, NASCAR Fan 19 holds the lead, but Porkins has fought his way all the way up to second. Great run by the 04 car. Here comes Shepard trying to look to the inside. Porkins squeezing right there. He'll keep the 7 car behind him, or at least to his side. Has still 3 wide back here in the middle of the field. John Arndt seems to be unaffected by that contact, but the 78 car definitely in a bad situation. And now there's trouble up here in turn 1. Nick Smith and Chris Harley are around, and a couple others involved. Decent damage to both ends of the 18 car. 3 also with some damage. There's Nick Smith. He's finished outside the top 30 in the past 2 races, and it doesn't seem like he's going to have any more luck this race. Given the state of his car, we'll see if he takes it straight down the pit lane. Chris Harley, slow on the apron, just got eliminated from the Amateur Cup Series playoffs, and now not going to have a good run here. Ooh, Gerardo Juan with some heavy contact. 91 car's front end smashed in. That could pose an issue for his race. Looks like he was able to get away okay, though. Didn't go around, as now the leaders will come down to pit lane. Looks like there's going to be early pit stops here. The field comes down. Harley already on pit lane. Going to be interesting to see what kind of pit strategies the drivers employ here, as obviously track positions seem to be at a premium during the Amateur Cup Series race, but they didn't have a caution to interrupt things, so we'll see what kind of tires the drivers take on here. Watching on NASCAR Fan 19, our leader, as well as Porkins and DeBarros. Looks like everyone's going for at least right side tires. They're setting up for 4 tires on the 64. It's going to be 2 tires for the 7 car, and he's going to pull away. He gets off in blazing speed. He's going to be out in front. And then William Brock behind. NASCAR Fan 19 takes 4 tires, and he is slow getting out of his box. And a lot of cars are going to go by the 64, our pole sitter. And now NASCAR Fan 19 deep in the field. That's a big development there. So our pole sitter will now have to fight his way back up through the field. Now let's take a look back at our first lap incident. Just potentially looks like some incidental contact there. Both Arndt and Fry were outside of the groove on the outside. Then the 05 went into the groove and then followed by the 78. They made contact go down the track, run into the 24. Unfortunately, no one spins around. But there's some serious damage to that 78 car, and I wonder if they got any of that fixed. Looks like there was another potential incident here off of turn 2 as Craig Martin getting into the corner of Julio Caesar. And that's a dangerous spot for a playoff driver as the 0 goes onto the apron and right back up the racetrack. Unfortunately, no crash there. I believe that was the 2nd lap. But now let's take a look at the incident that brought out the caution. And seeing Harley there, it looks like he might have driven into the 34's right rear. Slides up the track right in front of the 91 car. That's where he gets his damage. And then the 18 is collected. So is Eli Bright in the 88. As the 3 takes a pretty heavy shot into the outside wall. The 91 also suffering some pretty decent damage. A little bit of contact there for the 75 of Kyle Law. As Iran drives away. And Eli Bright will try to make an escape there as well. But a bad break for a few drivers there. Fortunately, none of them were playoff drivers involved in this incident. Taking another look. And it just looks like Harley cuts into the corner deeper, or earlier rather, than Kraus does. because Kraus is riding that yellow line, and then the 3 seems to cut down on him. And that's what causes him to slide up and then take out a few more cars. So just an overall bad weekend for Harley. Just eliminated from the Amateur Cup Series playoffs, as we've mentioned. And now in an accident here in the Elite Cup Series race, which he was fortunate to qualify for. 3 green flag laps in the books. The entire field comes down for pit stops, and now the entire field is scrambled. So we head into break. A look from Philip Fry and his way around this accident.
These are pretty good, Daniel.
It's actually my mom's recipe.
Wow, spicy.
You want some chips with that?
Sure. Anyone else?
I'm good.
Hey, fingerprints. Careful.
Welcome back to Elite Cup Series racing at SimTel Park, Holman, Wisconsin. 2 drivers now out of the race, Gerard Aron and Chris Harley, after the first accident of the day. And we'll get restarted on lap number 8 with now Aiden Shepard leading the way on a 2-tire stop. Nick Smith fell a lap down amid making repairs. And he is going to cause some problems as some drivers are trying to get around. Nick Smith does have some damage, and now Jake Baskinger all the way to the inside. Going to try to take advantage of William Brock getting held up. And the 84 car might push his way all the way to second. It's Cody Hagan coming through as well. He's going to try to force a 3-wide situation. A big slingshot on the inside as William Brock losing some ground. On contact off at turn number 4, Donnie Moore hard into the wall and right back up the racetrack, and a big crash coming down the front stretch. Playoff drivers involved. Mundinger's around. And a few others collected. Allison Rain, I believe, was the first one to run into the 43 car after Donnie Moore ricocheted back up the racetrack. Just didn't seem like he had any control, and then caused a melee from there. Philip Fry might have gotten a piece of that. We saw Mundinger was around. It looked like the cause of that was Donnie Moore getting contact potentially from behind by Jack Porkins. And I believe part of that might have had to do with the fact that Moore took no tires on that last pit stop. He gained a lot of ground, but at the expense of not having any fresh rubber. Ryan Maiden with some damage. He was around. The field is coming back down the pit lane. Several drivers are going to have to make repairs. We'll try to figure this all out. Shepard led the way at the line, followed by Hagan. Nick Smith staying on track as he's a lap down. Everyone coming down to their stalls. We'll see how tire strategy plays out in this one now. It seems like it might have played a factor in that last accident. Julio Caesar comes down to his stall. And it looks like he's going for left side tires. So several drivers took right sides the first time. Now it looks like they're getting their lefts changed. It's just about everyone in their stall now. Orkin's going for the right side tires. Looks like he's going to be a little bit slow. Oh, contact here at the front of pit lane. Adam Mundinger coming in his stall. Stephen Woolley was leaving. They made contact. Obviously, the 97 was already involved in the accident, and now a big hit from Willie entering his stall, and he pulls away. Looks like maybe Mundinger was not as seriously damaged as we thought. As once again, NASCAR Fan 19 slow on the pit stop. The right side still jacked up, so might have had some problems there. Well, let's take a look at this accident. Now, as we mentioned, Donnie Moore does not have tires. Porkins does have 4 tires on his car. Looks like they made contact. Donnie Moore into the inside wall, and then out of control. His car will veer back onto the racetrack. He's got his wheel turned to the left. He's trying to stay out of this crash, but unfortunately, Allison Rain is going to run into him. The 6 car goes around off the front end of Mundinger, right into the path of David Davidson. Check out John Arndt going to the bottom of this entire thing. He's going to pass up several cars. A very swift move by the 05 car. There goes the 97 around as everyone just plows into the smoke screen. NASCAR Fan 19 did have a hit there, so 64 car was involved in this accident. That's why he's slow on pit lane. You can just see, we're looking from just above, and obviously right on track level, it's impossible to see what's going on here. So just a big stack up here. Thankfully, doesn't seem like there were a ton of giant hits, so we'll probably still see a decent amount of cars still in the race, but definitely a multi-car incident. Ryan Maiden slides back down into Eric Monaco's path. Now there's the contact between Porkins and Moore. The big hit. Driver's side, not a great hit for the 43 car. Right into the path of Rain. There's a giant stack up of playoff drivers there. Mundinger, Gradden, and NASCAR Fan 19 all in a row. The 4 car slams on the brakes trying to stop his race car. There's the hit that NASCAR Fan 19 takes from the 99. As he just tries to get around. Mundinger gets a hit there from Fitzwater. Maiden gonna slide right into the path of the 27. Rampage might have just escaped. Maybe got nicked. Jonathan Rain's also involved. Let's watch on board Mundinger and see his view. Also saw the 98 catch a piece of that from the inside. NASCAR Fan 19. Took a decent lick there, then just drove straight through. Our helmet cam from Jet Kraus. Very fortunate to weave his way through that. And from David Davidson, who apparently is able to just miss Allison Rain spinning in front of him. What an avoidance there.
You ever heard of race car drivers running with the family car oil? These do. Winners like Jeff and Brett Bodine, Tim Richmond, and Darrell Waltrip. They use the same new Superflow 10W30 motor oil you can buy in stores. It has a special additive wear band that's super at block and wear. Right, guys? Right! Good catch! You play football? No! Too dangerous! Want your engine to last? Go with the Flow. New Superflow.
For anyone that is currently not a member of the NFRN and would like to get involved as a driver, signups for part-time Truck Series qualifying are still open. The Race 13 deadline is just 2 days away. You can check out the link down in the description. Just as a reminder, if you are a full-time driver in any of the NFRN series, you cannot sign up for this opportunity. Back at SimTel Park after our second caution period in this Elite Cup Series race, Donnie Moore and Allison Rain both out of the event after collecting each other hard after the 43 car hit the inside wall that you see on screen. Allison Rain just coming out of a big tumble at NASCAR. She's going to have a disappointing return to the track. Back to green flag on lap number 14. A slower Nick Smith still taking up space on the inside one, and there's a 3-wide situation here for second place. Hagan on the outside, Campbell on the inside, Aiden Shepard holding down the lead, but he could be overtaken by the 41 car heading down into turn 3. And he will. Campbell to the lead. William Brock looking for it as well, and here comes Julio Caesar. Restarted 7th, and he's already up 3rd. Brock pushing for the lead. Campbell way up the track. And Brock will head to the lead, but Caesar stays in hot pursuit. A lap lead would be big for these drivers trying to gain bonus points, and obviously a victory would be essential to make sure that they don't have to do anything these next 2 races. Caesar with a big shot to the inside, takes over the lead from Brock, and he's going to get a bonus point here. As they remain racy all over the racetrack, a 3-wide situation here. Hagan is way back down on the field after he was just battling for second. And you can see him slipping outside of the top 10 and even further. This just goes to show how essential it is to stay in the groove here. Look at how many positions he loses just in that turn. Reese Butcher, David Davidson go by, and he's got more competition on the inside. 3 wide down the front stretch, and he's going to lose even more spots. What a terrible few laps for Cody Hagan. Got the victory at Texas World. Hoped that would parlay into a bit of a momentum boost. He had some okay finishes the past couple races, but when it looked like he just had an opportunity there, they went and lost it. There's trouble here. Going into turn 3, the 76 and the 5. possibly made some contact, and they sweep right back up the racetrack. And very fortunate we didn't have another caution there, as they're still side by side. 4 wide, 5 wide, coming out of turn 2. My goodness, this is a lot more racy than we saw in the Amateur Cup Series race. What a situation that could have been. Looking at the replay, going into turn 3, the 5 behind makes contact with the 76. They both slide up the racetrack right in front of Stover. Rambo on the outside. What a situation that was. Very fortunate to stay out of trouble there. Looks like the 76 caught the short end of the stick as the 5 car drove away. The 76 is still trying to battle back for some of those spots that he lost. Got to keep paying attention to the chase board. Philip Fry now 20 points behind the cut line. After that reset, he's at the back of the field. Obviously some damage from the lap 1 incident. We got to change for the lead here. William Brock fighting back. He's going to get to the inside of the 0 car and clear him, as John Arndt has worked his way up to 3rd and Bruno De Barros in 4th. Plenty of playoff drivers up here battling for a potential victory. Arndt's able to get by Caesar for 2nd, and Brock will lead the lap. On board with De Barros, seeing if he can challenge Caesar for a spot. Also up here in the conversation, Jake Baskinger. He's in 6th place. De Barros keeps his car in the groove. He's going to have a little bit of a run here. Hoping to keep the clean air in front of him as Brock is trailed by Arndt. Can De Barros get the run here? The 0 backs out, and now the 12 heads to 3rd place. So Caesar leads a couple laps, and then he falls back to 4th place and maybe further. Oh, Caesar stays in the competition. He's still there side by side, but here comes Shepard. He's going to take the position from both of those drivers. Back in the 3rd place goes Shepard. Here comes Jake Baskinger, going to try to use the momentum here to take position from all 3 of them. And there goes the 84 car from 6th to 3rd on the backstretch. Big run for Jake Baskinger. Got another bit of contact here, this time off of turn 2. It's Cody Hagan and the other JR making some contact as the 42 lost a lot of ground. He's trying to make it back up, and he is desperate as he and the 98 make contact. Here comes John Arndt. He's going to look for the lead going into turn 3. He's got the position. Brock out of the groove, and the 05 up to the lead. And now he will lead a lap. These front runners just trading places and giving themselves some bonus points, as some of the drivers in the back are hoping that they can just find some space and make their way forward. Looks like the 7's going to go to the inside of the 84 car there. And now it's going to be Shepard up to 3rd. And Caesar's going to fight his way to 4th place there. Power move is the 84. Caught sleeping a little bit. Shepard keeping himself in contention for his first career win. Got to be a tough pill to swallow for the driver of the 7, knowing that if he had made the playoffs and not crashed in the race at Nazareth, he would have had enough points to advance to round of 12. Unfortunate circumstances there, but he keeps pushing on, still looking for that victory, and he's got a good chance here right now as he continues to keep himself pacing with these playoff drivers. Hasn't exactly excelled on these intermediate courses, but he does pretty well at the longer ovals. Averages an 11th place finish at the tracks that range between 2 and 2.5 miles, and all of those tracks really have that full speed, little break type of style, and that kind of fits him, and it shows right now as William Brock goes back to lead, and Shepard's going to fight for 2nd. So yeah, I think those high acceleration, little break tracks kind of suit Shepard's style as he is fighting the 05 off of the corner. We're seeing Kyle Wall coming down. This is a bit early in the window. I don't know if he'll necessarily drag the entire field down with him. He was inside the top 20 at the time. And we will note that he didn't have any tires taken that last pit stop, so perhaps he just needs to get that fresh rubber on and see if he can make any gains. As we're looking straight down the front stretch, see how the field is faring. I tell you what, this has been a way more exciting race than the Amateur Cup Series was. Definitely a bit of drama in the playoff picture there, but in terms of how the product is on track, this has gone a lot better. And Shepard trying to cut down in the middle of turn 3 and 4, see if he can set himself up for a move down in turn 1 and 2 on Brock to take the lead back over. Brock is high, but not high enough that he's going to lose a ton of momentum, but the 7 car is still hanging in there with him. Shepard looking to take the lead back, and it should be an easy move when they get down into turn 3 the way that Shepard is positioned, and he will slice his way through, but here comes Caesar to take over second, and Baskinger looking to take third. If you mess up at the entry of any of these corners, the other drivers will take advantage of you, and Brock just got taken advantage of. And he'll slide back to 4th, and maybe we'll lose another spot from someone behind, unless he can get this momentum back rolling in his favor. Enters the corner, he's still high, and there goes Stephen Willie for 4th. What a run by the 62 car. Got his first top 10 of the season at NASCAR, and now he's up into 4th place. The former playoff driver from Season 1 had pretty much been subject to ridicule after he just couldn't put up a top 20 finish in the first 16 events of the season, then finally got a 13th at Texas World. Things started turning in his favor in a 3rd place last race. Here comes green flag pit stop. Shepard down to the inside, Willie right behind. Caesar and Baskinger will stay out, along with several others. This is a pretty light crowd. Tyler Markell also comes in behind. There's Harrison, Jet Kraus, Monaco and Bright also making their way in. So pretty light in terms of who's up in the front. We'll see how Shepard and Willie get along. I would imagine based on going this full stint, it's going to be 4 tires for everybody. Crowded down here, Caesar cutting down late. They'll make it on the pit lane fine, but that was a little bit of a late move by Caesar. Contact here between Baskinger and Brock. They're getting dancy down here on pit lane. John Arnott was the only driver to stay out there who was among the front runners. Caesar into his stall, Baskinger a little bit further down. And we would imagine that all these drivers are going to take 4 tires here. Just a matter of who takes it the fastest, who has the fastest crew. Caesar is done and he's away. Baskinger on his left side. And he's down and away and side by side. Caesar has the speed. The 84 is not going to give it up easy. They pull away. Who's going to have the advantage down here in the corner? It's going to be a fight through turns 1 and 2 on the apron. Still they run side by side down here in the blend line. And Baskinger down to the grass. Shepard's going to beat both of them off. Pitted a lap early, and he was in the lead when they came in. But it looks like Caesar will lead the way over Baskinger in terms of the playoff battle. John Arndt made his way down pit lane. David Davidson and NASCAR Fan 19 along with him. And then there goes Shepard. Where will Arndt fall into this conversation? Looks like he might slip behind Noah Poncer, who's found his way up to 4th place. So green flag cycle complete. Up at the front, it's Aiden Shepard, followed by Caesar, Baskinger, Poncer, and Arndt. Wasn't the cleanest entry on the pit lane. A little bit of trouble further back in the field. Rampage and Ryan Maiden both eliminated playoff drivers. Maiden's going to send Rampage around for a spin at the entry of pit lane.
Hey, man. Hey. Hey. Never liked him.
Hey, look at you. Still trying to catch me.
Buddy, I ain't got time for this. You're gonna make me late.
Back at SimTel Park after our first round of green flag pit stops, Aiden Shepard is out in front, followed by Julio Caesar. Noah Poncer has been able to get his way past Jake Baskinger for 3rd place. Stephen Willie in 5th. Heading into today's event, Aiden Shepard had only led 11 laps on the season, and as it turns out, he has already surpassed that number as he is out front right now. Caesar is starting to close in, though, keeping a pretty good distance on the 7 car. Shepard could be that upset spoiler for these playoff drivers who weren't able to win in the first round. However, here comes Caesar down to the inside. It looks like he's going to make his move for the lead right here. He's got the advantage heading into turn 3, and down on the inside, he's going to Send Shepard to second and possibly to third. Here comes Noah Poncer, a big run from the 92 car. And so now Poncer in second, Shepard back to third, Caesar out in front. Let's take a look at the playoff grid as they run right now. Caesar out in front. Exited the last round fourth in points, got a fourth at Texas World. And then his finishes from there kind of slid back, but he's got 3 top 12s and 4 intermediate starts. This is a good track type for him, and he is showing it off right now as he tries to go for a victory. And also, you can see the field is starting to close in on the 1 car of Rampage. Just announced his retirement after the season, and he did not have a good pit stop after getting spun around by Ryan Maiden. Looks like he's going to get lapped right there, and that's going to be unfortunate for the 1 car. Looking a little bit further back, we got Jake Baskinger trying to battle the 7 car of Shepard for 3rd position. Baskinger left the last round with the lead, and he got 2 top 10s in that round. Finished runner-up at Texas World after Cody Hagan was able to win the race on the caution flag and got 6th at NASCAR last race. He is continuing to show why he's a force in this playoff battle. Up here in the top 5. Could be the favorite as we move along. Unfortunately, it looks like he's kind of slipped back away from the 7 car as they try to get by the lapped car of Rampage. A little bit further back, we've got William Brock, who just made a move on John Arndt for 6th place. So make that change on the leaderboard. Brock did not have a great last round. Got 14th at Texas World, then finishes at 31st and 30th. But this is a great track type for him. 7 top 10s on intermediates. That's better than any other driver on the grid. He's being challenged, though, by John Arndt just behind him as they're both running the high lane on the groove as the 05 now challenges him down to the inside. Arndt has 5 career top 10s on intermediates, only 1 top 5, though. Just outside that mark, Brock is trying to hang on there, but he's a little bit too high outside of the groove. The 05 should have the advantage as they go through the trial wall on the backstretch and down into turn 3. Here comes Jack Porkins, though, taking advantage of them running side by side. The 23 is going to drop back as the 04 goes to the inside and takes over the 7th position. After a poor start to the last round, Porkins ended up getting 2 top 10s in a row. Got a 3rd place at Toronto Lakeshore. Setting himself up nicely as he gets into this race and now looking for a 3rd top 10 in a row. Losing a little bit of ground to the 05 right now. And Brock continues to fall back. He's lost 2 more positions to Butcher and now Amethyst Ashley. Ashley's runner-up finish at Toronto probably salvaged her playoffs. The other 2 finishes were pretty unremarkable. She ended up 8th in the round 1 standings, but trying to show that she is still a contender as she is looking to the inside of Reese Butcher. Unable to make that move. Her best finish on an intermediate this season is a 15th. All of her finishes among the 4 starts she's made fall between 15th and 30th. So right now, running a little bit better than average. 9th place for her at the moment. She tries to find the clean air on the track. Unable to make the move on Butcher just yet. A little bit further back, we see David Davidson trying to get underneath Kyle Wall. You'll remember that 75 car made an earlier pit stop, so the rubber was good at the start, and now he's going to start falling back. De Barros is also going to try to make a move on the inside. And looks like he'll eventually be successful at that. David Davidson looking for a little bit of consistency. Got a 4th place run at Nazareth. Saved his top 25 standing. Didn't have great runs at Texas World, Toronto Lakeshore, but then went out and got a 4th place finish at NASCAR. Ensured his spot in the round of 12, and now trying to see if he can keep that train rolling. He's just outside the top 10 at the moment, and it looks like Kyle Wall is going back down toward pit lane. It's going to be a little tight in terms of the pit window, depending on when these drivers pit next. Wall definitely won't make it on the rest of his tank. He'll have to stop again. De Barros' last round was the first driver ever to sweep a chase round with top 10s. That was an active part of the playoffs, so well done to him. He didn't actually come out with the points lead. That went to Baskinger, but still put up a great performance, and right now, he is just above the cut line. Those playoff drivers are really up there inside the top 10, and De Barros, despite having a pretty solid run, just not good enough at the moment. Stuart Gradden currently in 20th, is the first one on the outside. Last time he got a top 10, that was Calder Park. This is a driver that started the season with 4 top 10s in a row, then had a dry spell, got that top 10 at Calder Park, and then hasn't had one again. Now, he has had some pretty solid finishes, had one 11th place finish, but trying to crack into that top 10 doesn't look like it's going to happen here today. It's been a while since he's had one. Then it's NASCAR Fan 19 next on the board. He hasn't had a great season on the intermediates. 3 times he's finished outside the top 30 in 4 starts. His best finish was an 11th at Peoria. Last season he had a victory, 3 top 5s, and 5 top 10s on this type of track, and just not hitting this season. As we mentioned, he and his teammate Rampage will be retiring at the end of the season, and NASCAR Fan 19 will stay with the league in a managerial role with his team, Ramco Motorsports, which will be rebranded to Arch Motorsports next season, but he will not be behind the wheel. At the rear of this grid, Adam Mundinger and Philip Fry fighting for positions. Both have had their issues today. 97 got involved in that accident on the front stretch. Got spun around. Philip Fry has also had a hit taken in the first lap. We've got green flag pit stops right here with the leaders. Willie, Shepard, and Markel are down for their stops. And like we said, it seems like the window is pretty tight. They might be able to make it, but I think that they're going to end up having to take another stop. Particularly these drivers, who are more than likely going to go for 4 tires. It's going to become a matter of what do they do on the last pit stop, assuming that we get to that point. Here comes Porkins down for his stop. 04 was working his way toward the top 5 before he came in for his stop, and he will come to a stall right here. 4 tires coming for him. Going to see how the decisions they make in terms of when they stop are going to affect how they come back on the racetrack. Here comes Caesar. Baskinger is with him. A little bit of contact there with Maiden. The 99 came down at the same time as the 0, and there was a little bit of contact there. I wonder if that's going to affect the 0 car. See if they spend any time trying to buff that out. It was on the right front of Caesar's car that the 99 made contact. Baskinger further down the pit lane. Finishes his service. He's down and away. And Caesar did not spend any time on that damage, if there was any to be repaired. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit there, but I guess they assume that it's not going to be a big deal. They will get out in front of the 84 car, not side by side this time. Arndt is down for his service. We'll go for 4 tires. Looks like out on the track still, Craig Martin's going to lead a lap on his home racetrack. At least one inside his home state. 05 pulls away. Here comes Davidson. Out for his service, and now he'll get the lead. He'll add a bonus point to his total. Four tires for him, and then we'll see how this all cycles out. At the moment, we're seeing Caesar out in front of Willie Ponser and Baskinger, but whether that will stay the same, we will see. There's Martin. I believe he came out on the same lap as Davidson. Taking a look at the grid now, it looks like Caesar will be out in front. Then it'll be Willie, Ponser, and then Porkins just got by Baskinger for 4th position. 55 laps in the books in this Elite Cup Series race at SimTel Park. One more commercial break, and then we will take you to the finish.
Okay, ma'am. You claim Jeff Burton led you to believe the Exide Select battery was only for race cars?
That's right, Your Honor.
And Mr. Burton?
Not guilty, Your Honor. All I said was the Exide 99 team needs a tough, reliable battery out on the track.
Hey, I need a reliable battery, too.
Yeah. But, Your Honor,
That's enough.
The Exide Select battery. It's not just for race cars.
Award for the plaintiff.
Just over 20 laps to go in this playoff race for the Elite Cup Series. Caesar out in front. Willie in 2nd, and Porkins under the brake. Just got past Ponser for 3rd place. Baskinger back in 5th, so still some heavy playoff presence up here in the front of the field. But Caesar at the moment seems to have the most speed. At a pretty solid pit stop. A little bit of contact with Maiden, but seems like he has pushed past that, and he is continuing to put up a good run here keeping a distance over the 62 car. Baskinger slipped back to 6th now. Shepard up to 5th. William Brock still there inside the top 10. Let's take a look at how the field looks right now. And it looks a little bit more single file. We have a side-by-side right there with John Art and Ryan Mead, and I believe the 99 car is lapped down. We'll see on the leaderboard as it comes by. It looks like pretty single file, like we saw in the Amateur Cup Series race. A little bit more spread out, though, after we've had several green flag pit stops. Riding on board Jed Kraus, who, beyond that replay, we haven't gotten a ride with around this racetrack yet. Got that victory at NASCAR last race, and unfortunately doesn't look like he's putting up a performance to back it up. Got 28th place right now. But you get a good look at how he's driving this racetrack, trying to make sure he stays inside the shaded area so we can try to track down his next opponent. Back at the front of the field, the 0 car still holding a pretty decent gap over the 62 car, and the 04 is trying to pounce up here. Noah Ponce, we've got to give him some credit, though. Hasn't had the greatest season, and there have been worse seasons. Obviously, we've documented Stephen Willie, who was also up there running in 2nd place, but Ponce is the 5th lowest among the full-timers in standings. Hasn't had a top 5 yet this season. His best finish is 6th. Right now, he's running 4th. Got a good chance right now. Also, take a look back at 6th position. Reese Butcher just got around Jake Baskinger. 90 team looking for some redemption after getting eliminated from the playoffs last round, and now we got to move for 2nd place. Porkins going to the inside of Willie. I do start to wonder, when these drivers made their playoffs, is the lap that they decided to come down relative to others going to play a factor in terms of tire wear? Porkins came down a little bit later than Willie, so 62 got a good jump on the initial start, but Porkins is going to have a little bit better long run now. Now the 04 up to 2nd place, trying to track down Caesar. And now Poncer slips back a spot as Butcher's getting around. Now the 90 car is suddenly coming to life. Really haven't talked about him all day, but suddenly he's up here in this conversation. Willie back down to the inside of the 04 car. Well, but take that back. 62 still had the speed. He just had to catch the 04 sleeping. So Willie to 2nd, Shepard to 3rd, and Porkins continues to slip back. He might have actually caught the wall there. I think the 04 has a little bit of a problem, as now the 84 is going to track him down and get by him. So Porkins from 2nd to, I believe, 6th in 1 lap. So big problems for Porkins, and now Butcher to the inside of Shepard. Now he's up to 3rd. Where has this 90 car come from? We really have not been paying attention to him all day. Porkins high on the racetrack once again. He's so close to that wall. I wonder if he's just got a problem right now, as Markel was able to get to the inside and take over 7th from him. He might have gotten his momentum back. The big problem is for the 04 car is now Shepard. Well, it looked like he was about to lose a spot, but he gets off the corner better than Poncer. He'll maintain 5th. Caesar looking from his rearview mirror, hoping that Willie or Butcher won't catch up to him. He's got to go for that victory and grab the automatic berth into the round of 8. Still holding a pretty decent distance over the 62 car, but here comes the 90 to the inside of the 62. Still side by side going down to this corner, but if the 62 is too high, the 90 can take advantage. There you go. Willie makes a mistake. Butcher to 2nd place. Willie will slot back in the 3rd, but the 90 is coming and coming fast. Caesar has got to be watching his rear view right now. Got a side-by-side battle. Playoff driver's a little bit further back. I believe this might be for 8th, because Markel was 8th at the time, but now he's behind both Brock and Arndt, and there you go. 23 up to 8th. So we just grabbed 2 positions there, as Markel fell back to 10th. And these drivers are still looking for every position they can to get a good standing going into the next race at Ontario. Here comes Butcher down to the inside. The 90 car takes over the lead from Caesar. And he is just on rails right now. We've gotten the word that Butcher pitted the lap after Caesar and Baskinger did. So that was lap 54 entering 55. And here comes Willie. He's going to make a move to the inside of the 0 car. And Caesar goes from 1st to 3rd, and maybe a little bit further back, as he's going to have less momentum in that top corner. Here comes Baskinger to the inside. Caesar's going to drop to 4th now. And will he drop even more as he's still side by side with the 84? But up at the front, it is Butcher all the way. And he is trying to get away from Stephen Willie. A couple of veteran drivers finding their way to the front of the field. And there you go. That's the stat that tells it. 18th is where Butcher restarted. That was back at lap 14 after our second caution of the day. And he has been able to pick off drivers one by one. That is an exceptional move up through the field. However, we are still subject to another pit stop before the end of this one. It sounds like the drivers are concerned about the fuel mileage. It doesn't sound like anyone's going to be able to stretch. So I believe, yep, here we go. We got pit stops coming right now. Willie down to the inside. I saw another car. I believe that was Shepard. And they were the ones that tended to pit early, so here they come. But how many tires will they take? We see Harrison has already come down for his service. And it looks like he's having a little bit of a long pit stop. I wonder if he had some contact on the racetrack. Watch these leaders, though. Shepard, Willie. Porkins also in this conversation. There comes the 04. Willie is taking 2 tires. Porkins is up on his right side. They go for 2, and that's all Willie will go for. And it looks like that's the same for the 04. A little bit slow getting out of his stop. 7 car couldn't get out in front of the 62 either. Here comes William Brock for his service. Tires up on the wall, crew goes over, and he will come to a stop. It's going to be a 2-tire change for the 23 as well. As positions continue to shuffle. I don't believe that there's going to be anyone that can stretch it. The 23 gets out in front of the 0 car. That is big news. The 0 did not have a great pit stop. He had an okay pit stop, but not faster than a few other drivers as the 23 gets out in front. Baskinger opted to come down a lap later. He's going to go for 2 tires. A little slow trying to get the fuel in, and he's away. And here comes the 90 car, as well as John Art. 5 into his stall. And it looks like he's going to take 2 tires as well. So everyone knows that tires are going to be a little bit of a premium here. So they want to get enough. They want to take their tires while they're getting their gas, and they know it's going to take a while. As the 90 is way out in front of Arndt, there was not that much of a gap when they came in, and we are hearing that Butcher did not take tires. Butcher is on the same set of tires that he had on his last pit stop. And this is a big development. It seems like they're confident with the set that got them to the lead, as they have 5 and now going to be 4 laps to go in this race. The 11 car comes down for a stop. He once again leads the lap. He stays out long. He's also going to opt to go for no tires. We'll see how that works out for him. He was just inside the top 20 at the time. And here comes the race for the lead, and Butcher is out in front by a long shot, but what will this decision for him do to his gap on the lead? And right now, there's no one in sight, and he's going to put the 99 car lap down. It seems like he made a decent decision there to get some seconds back on the clock. 3 laps to go, and no one in sight. Frankly, I think this was a good decision for him. Showing the 38 out in front in second. I'm not sure that's going to hold up. And there we go. The 38 is legitimately in second, but he's going to get passed up by Stephen Woolley there. I believe the 38 also made a no tire call. And really ballsy trying to go for a decent finish here. But Woolley will slot back in the second as they're still battling back here. Robert Harrison mixed in with that. He is not a part of that battle. There's all those guys that took 2 tires, and they're just not going to have anything for Reese Butcher, it seems like. Looking at the chart, it's Martin still in 3rd, then Shepard, Arntz in 5th, Brock's in 6th, Caesar in 7th, Baskinger in 8th. So all of the things that we were thinking were going to happen got turned over on its head right there as Butcher takes the white flag. This veteran driver got eliminated from the playoffs last race after a trio of bad finishes. But statistically, this is a better season for him. He's gotten another victory, 3 top 5s up from last season, 5 top 10s, got his first career pole, led more laps. And right now, that no tire call seems like it's going to work out. Coming off the final corner, he is going to join the 3-time Winners Club. Reese Butcher wins at SimTel Park. And you'll remember back to the victory he got this season already. That was at Green Valley Super Speed Ring. He did that sideways and ended up on his roof. Today he does it on all 4 tires. And he will join Rampage as the only 3-time career winners in the Elite Cup Series. So looking at the final results, Reese Butcher grabs his 2nd victory of the season, 3rd of his career. Stephen Woolley one-ups himself from NASCAR, grabs a 2nd place run, continuing to mount a comeback. Aiden Shepard with a very good 3rd place run. John Arndt, the top playoff driver, in 4th. Top 4 drivers, Chevrolets, after top 5 of the Amateur Cup Series race were Fords. And Craig Barden, give props to him, coming home with a 5th place run in his home state. He was running inside the top 15 when they made those pit stops, and he mounted a 10 place gain by going for no tires. He's the only Ford up here in the top 10. William Brock, Caesar, Baskinger, some playoff drivers grabbing some good points. They all wanted to go for that victory, and they all had a chance. Caesar particularly lost a little bit on that pit stop. He'll end up in 7th, but they all got good points to go ahead in the round of 12. And also up here in the top 10 were Dale Jr. Fan 8883 and Noah Ponser, who looks like he could go for a top 5 there. Unfortunately, did not pan out. He'll still get the top 10. Back through 20th, we'll see the end of our top 8 here. Jack Porkins in 13th, Davidson 16th, Dave Barrows in 19th, Gradden in 20th. They will all be above the cut line heading to Ontario. Cody Hagan was up front after those caution flags, then got caught on the outside and dropped all the way to the back of the field. He will call back for an 18th place. And then here are the drivers that are outside the cut line. Amethyst Ashley is going to be down there by only 1 point after finishing 21st to Gradden's 20th. NASCAR Fan 19 an unspectacular day in 26th. Kyle Law, who made early pit stops all race, he'll still end up in the 22nd position, so it doesn't look like that really affected him. And Jed Krause, who won last race at NASCAR, finished 29th. And then the drivers that had some problems, Adam Mundinger, Philip Fry, who had their share of issues, finished 32nd and 33rd respectively. And while Butcher took the victory, it was a completely different story for the other 3 eliminated drivers. Rampage and Ryan Maiden both fell down a lap. Very unfortunate for Rampage after announcing his retirement, and Allison Rain ended up in that crash on the front stretch with Donnie Moore. They would end up out of the race. And of course, on the first accident, Gerard Aron and Chris Harley made hard contact. They would end up at the back of the grid. Beyond some bonus points for leading laps, no real deviation from the results on the chase standings. However, you get a good feel for the spread from John Arndt back to Philip Fry. 78 team has 13 points to make up on Stuart Gradden if they want to get back into contention. And as far as drivers that did not make the round of 12, Reese Butcher just one-upped everybody and gets the victory to get the 13th position. A reminder that anyone eliminated from the chase that does not make the championship 4 will revert back to normal points for the 10-race stretch, and they can fight for anywhere from 5th to 16th in the point grid. Here's a look at the non-chase standings after this race. Jack Krause had the advantage on 17th after winning NASCAR, but after a poor finish today, he'll hand that back over to Brad Stover by 1 point, and Aiden Shepard will solidify himself in 19th after his 3rd place run. Noah Ponser moves from 32nd to 27th in points after finishing top 10. And how about this? It took him till race 20, but Stephen Woolley is finally no longer behind any Amateur Cup Series drivers in the standings. He is still distantly behind the other full-timers, including Fitzwater Sr., but he is no longer behind any part-timers. As far as the team standings, AMI Incorporated is able to gap a little bit more over Ramco, who did not have their best day. RPG7 and Thunderhawk were able to get a little bit closer. And in the Rookie of the Year battle, Stover still has the advantage over Krause. However, Baskinger, Caesar, and Porkins, after their top 10 finishes, were able to claw a little bit closer to that top spot, and Shepard was able to make a good gain after his 3rd place run. The drama was high and the pressure was on in today's race at SimTel Park. The playoff drivers needed to go for a victory, and while several were able to survive the smoke, none were able to get to the top step of the podium. Reese Butcher rocketed his way from just inside the top 20 to the lead in a 60-lap stretch, and he ends up in victory lane for the 3rd time in his career. We hope you'll join us for our next Elite Cup Series event at Ontario, along with the Truck Series, where we will see if those 12 playoff drivers can grab that coveted trophy. This has been a presentation of NFRN and RVN. My name is Colin Denton. We will see you all next time.